If it hadn't happened over and over far too many times to ever handle, but once again they snuffed out my light like they were blowing out a candle. One more time put in my place, like I had no right to rise above my stature. My truth once again silenced, like it was my breath they chose to capture. Far too many men that loomed above me, threatening to take what they believed was theirs, like the only place that I belonged was somewhere beneath the basement stairs. From frightened child to wary adult, on the receiving end of one more threat, I paid the price so many times, even though I never owned the debt. The crimes forever on repeat, until I lost the will to even live. The price of life so very high, that it took all I could ever give. Knocked to the ground so many times, I grew too tired to rise once more. All the times I saw my mother disrespected for the fact that we were poor. All the men who needed to prove to me that their rights superseded mine. All the times they pushed the limits until they had finally crossed the line. Not satisfied until they had raised the level to see the fear inside my eyes, until they had taken it far enough to bolster their belief in their own lies. One more female they chose to threaten, one more woman put in her place, as they hid behind their male privilege, unwilling to meet me face to face. Unwilling to earn the equal right to rise to the position of greatest power, they climbed the ladder on the backs of the women that they forced to cower. And although my mother had stood her ground, she still died a pauper's death, after the system stole all her dignity before she took her final breath. And although she made me a fighter too, I could never win this fight. And no matter how many times I stepped into the ring, I would never even earn the right. You see, my gender marks me by the men who do not wish to stand beside me. So one more time they push me down and take the rights that they've denied me. One more time they reenact the crime that they commit without a thought, because they can always be assured it's not a crime for which they'll get caught. They see it as the natural order, and I just need to accept my fate, because after all, I'm just another woman who really cannot ever rate. And despite the many times they pushed me down, I failed to see the bitter truth that the inequality I experienced early in my life would extend far beyond my youth. The gender differences I couldn't see, raised by a mother on her own, who worked in a man's job day after day until she worked herself into the bone, but never paid a man's wage, and so she struggled to raise and feed us, holding on to her ragged dignity so she could find a path to lead us. And so only saw her strength, the woman who stood up to a man, but I failed to see the price enacted because I was too young to understand. Until after one too many times put in my place, I finally saw the awful trend that as a woman I had no right up to the bitter end.